Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Misconception and Opinion of the Conservative. I am Tiffany Van and I have Miss Ruth joining me. Miss Ruth Moulton, how you doing?
Hi,
All
I'm
right.
all right.
Well, good. I'm glad that you could join me once again. It's been a lot going on since the last week, so I definitely want to touch bases on those topics. All right, which consists of immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we're going to be talking about transgender rights
Mm-hmm.
and so many other topics. So let's get right into it.
Okay.
So basically, what I want to touch on first is what's going on with the immigration. All right. So we have immigrants coming over illegally, and what's being done is, well, what they are trying to push, more so the Democratic Party is trying to push, is having um, former prisons turned
Mm-hmm.
into shelters.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that and the research that you've done on that. How do you feel?
Well, I feel that it's just like when they took over the schools, when they took over the fields so that the children could not play baseball, sports, etc. How do I feel as an American? It makes me
Mhm.
angry because it's like you're making your way. We've been invaded and you're acting like, oh, company's coming, we need to find, clean up the spare room to put them into. And that's not the case. And we Americans, we're funding all of it, and we're barely existing and surviving with the prices and the cost of everything, with just living.
Right,
So
exactly.
I
And
say
and
no.
based on right. Now, with that comes a lot of issues because, if they decide to turn former prisons into shelters, they do speculate that this will cause major issues. One of those issues is the crime rate may certainly go up. That means the police are being called, which means less time to respond to the local residents. That's a
Right.
major issue right there. Also, now these shelters are supposed to be for families, people with children. Now there
Yeah.
are schools around. People are also afraid that some of those children may get bullied, because they may
Right.
not be welcomed. I mean, there's so many issues, and I just don't know if all, everything is being thought out properly before just
No,
opening, yeah, these
it's not.
former prisons.
Because what language? If they go to school, what language is going to be taught? Is it going to be their native tongue? Is it going to be English? What is it going to be? And there's
Right.
another measles outbreak, shocker, that has started
Mhm.
again. But
Mhm.
it's everything. But the kicker is, and then I know that with the barbed wire that's on there at the top, and a state representative in that, believe that New Hampshire town, they were upset because he said, he toured it and the barbed wire was still up there and he had a problem with that. That's inhumane for illegals that have invaded America, but it's not inhumane for Americans that you have imprisoned. And you know what? Majority of them are black. So
Mhm.
it's the whole hypocrisy of it all.
I mean, here's the thing, whether they're black, Hispanics, either
Yeah,
way, because the issue is, and like you said, they're coming from places where, they may not get their, preventive shots, so you're
right.
bringing your viruses and diseases and all types of things over here, and, they're not, they don't have physicians at the border, to check these people that's coming over. So, I mean, it's just a whole issue, and you're opening the country up to all types of things, that could be detrimental to Americans.
Crime is up, rape is up, home invasions are up. And I'm not saying that, oh, it's all illegals, because you know what? We have our criminals that'll always be. But at the same
Hmm.
time, we have different cultures that are now coming into the United States. And it's not like they're trying to be a part of our culture. They want to change our culture to,
Right.
benefit them. But if you're used to just
Exactly.
taking everything that you want, they'll just
Exactly.
take it.
You know, that's the thing. They're coming over here not to adapt our culture, but to
Yeah,
transform it and turn it
yeah,
into whatever their culture is. That
correct.
part,
Mhm.
and it's obvious, and for us to sit back and allow it to happen, that's something I totally do not agree with. I did speak to a black man, I would say earlier this week, and we were talking about immigration, and he said, "Oh, please, just let them people have their country back." This is what he said to me, and I'm
What
like,
people? Which people?
I just think there's a lack of understanding and knowledge, especially in the black community, of what is really happening and going on.
Yes.
So, but that's that topic right there. I do want to move on. So,
Okay.
I do want to touch on transgender rights.
Okay.
That's something, yeah, transgender rights. Now, transgenders using female bathrooms. Okay, let's talk
Okay.
about that for a second. I'm
Okay.
totally against it. You have children using
Yes.
little girls
Right.
using
Right.
these bathrooms.
Correct.
Tell me your
Yes.
opinion on that.
I agree. I'm right there with you. Use whichever facility that goes along with your body part instead of mixing them all
Hmm.
together. So, I mean, either stand up, squat, sit down, do whatever. That's, to me, that's
Hmm.
not discriminating. That's not saying no, you don't have a right. It's no, I don't want my granddaughters being in a
Yeah,
bathroom with men.
yeah.
Or
It
those,
that it
let me put it this
becomes
way. They have men body parts, put it that way. Male body
right,
parts.
right. And it's nothing against transgenders. I do want to
Oh,
clarify that because I think there's a
oh,
misconception right there. It's just
yes,
we have to protect our little girls.
correct.
So yeah, it's nothing toward them. So I do want to clarify that. Um, but yeah,
Girls
that's a
and
major
boys.
issue.
Boys
R-
too.
Absolutely, absolutely, them too. You're right about that. Sometimes we forget about them, because they
Yes,
are boys. So, but no, they get molested as well. So,
yes, yes,
yes,
yes. So
definitely.
no,
Now I do want to touch bases also on gay parenting and the laws that are being changed. What's happening is they're trying to teach it in our schools.
right,
They're basically teaching children, some people have two mommies, some people have two
right,
daddies, and
right,
I just feel like, leave that alone. Why does
right,
that have to be a discussion?
right,
Especially in the elementary school. What is
right.
your take on that?
Well, again, I agree. School is for learning, how to do math. What are you going to do when you get older and you have to take care of yourself and having a job? However, whomever want to raise their children, be it religion, two mommies, whatever, let that be taught at home. But the kicker is, in a lot of public schools, the things that people don't know, let's take Philadelphia, the grants that they get for the free and reduced lunch, breakfast and lunch that they receive, is in there that in order for them to get it, and Biden, he made it clear, our president, you have to teach LGBTQIA if you want to continue to receive this grant money. Now you're holding food over the heads of children that may be the only time that they get something to eat. But I don't think
Hmm.
it's up to the teachers to teach that.
Right, absolutely. And that's ridiculous. And this is what I'm saying, why is someone's sexuality being put over children eating? That makes no sense.
It's
And
force.
it's like,
It's like shoving. It's like force. We're gonna make you conform, whether you want it or not. You're gonna get it.
right, right.
Your free flag. Let it fly. I don't care. Don't tell my
Mm-hmm.
grandchildren.
That's how I feel exactly. I
Yeah.
mean that. Wow. So, like I said, so many reasons why we are pushing to get Biden and his administration out. Period.
Right.
You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
Now I do want to talk about, speaking of Biden,
Okay.
a lot of Black Americans are shifting their votes to, they were once, for Biden, supporting him.
Right. Right.
Now this election, they're not so sure they're going to be voting for him. What do you think the reason is?
I think the reason is a lot of people may have finally have awakened, or you know what? They see other people coming into this country and being given everything, housing, food, money, everything that they need that they don't have. And they're still out there struggling just like the rest of us. So you know what? We're all in the same category when it comes to being an American. And for all of those who thought that even the Democratic Party overall, and that's making a general statement. And of course, everyone is not the same. But, it's like, oh, they take care. What? They just keep throwing money at the problem? We're throwing money all around the world. And everyone who goes to
Right,
work each day, we're paying for it. So now they're
right.
seeing that, no, our neighborhoods are falling apart. We're going bankrupt. And no one is here to help us. Shocker. Wonder why. But they see
Hmm.
why now.
Right. Well, Joe Biden, he recently got an honorary award at a HBCU college. Yeah,
Right.
university, Black university. People were saying, he did not deserve that award.
Yeah, I don't
They
think
felt
so.
like they could have found another, a black man to give that award to.
Why
How
did
do you
they?
feel
Why
about
did
him
they?
receiving it?
Why
I
did
mean, it
they?
makes no right.
Is this them what attempting to say that we are putting our support behind him? But I tell you this, no, there was an article that was written out when Obama was in office by a
Hmm.
black newspaper that if you were to Google it and look it up, you wouldn't be able to find it. But I have a copy of it. And because if you look about, say, Trump and giving money to the HBCU colleges and so forth, yes, he has given more money to them than any other president.
Hmm.
Actually, when Obama was president, he took money away from them. And yes, he shifted some to the Asians, which they needed it as well. But it's like, are you trying to brainwash? Are you trying to force an issue? You're trying to force what? You're, first of all, you're in college. Did you study history? Did you study Black history to even find out the
Hmm.
beginning, the origin of the party in itself? So what point are you trying to
Hmm.
make?
Right.
That's what I would think to him. What point are you trying to make?
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely don't think he was the right fit per se to get
Did
that
they
type of
pay him?
award.
Yeah, did he get money? I don't know. Did he give the college money? Did they pay him?
I mean, considering his history of how he treated Black
Correct.
people,
Yes.
we like to bring up Trump's past, so let's
Yes.
bring up Biden's past. I
Yes.
mean, come on, if we're going to do that. But yeah, he
Right.
definitely should not have gotten that award. Yeah. So,
Right. I
but
don't know what they were trying to
that's that.
prove on that one. I don't know. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I do want to move on to what I am noticing is that Black America is actually what I'm seeing, and I want to say in urban communities, are
Okay.
not as interested in politics as I think they probably should be. And
Right.
I say that because politics basically surrounds your life.
Yes.
Okay. And if you
Yes.
think that it doesn't, I think you need to take a look around, because everything,
Right.
from your job to, your pay, your
Mhm.
living, everything pretty much is based around politics. But why
Yes.
do you think we, are, as Black people, just uninterested?
Because a lot of Black people think and believe, well, my vote doesn't matter anyway. And I used to, years ago, before all of this nightmare now, use as an example, say in Philadelphia, South Philadelphia, and say North Philadelphia prior to, say, the Temple era. You look
Hmm.
at them and you can see the differences between people who voted and people who didn't vote.
Hmm.
That is a prime example right there. And it wasn't until Temple came in did the area start to change. But if you don't vote, they know you don't vote. So that's why, guess what? They only show up at what, Thanksgiving, give you a turkey, or at election time, because they know it really
Hmm.
doesn't matter anyway. If they show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't. If you work your tax dollars, all of that goes into politics. Politics, poli sci, is the study of people. So if they're not into
Hmm.
politics, guess what? Politics is into you. Very much so.
Exactly. Definitely is. That's just something we just cannot get around, you know. But yeah, I mean,
But Tiffany, too many people of all races marched, died, protested, did whatever necessary in order for Blacks to be able to vote. And again, with me, I just want an educated voter. Don't vote for someone just because of the color of their skin or because of what political affiliation they are. Be educated. But too many people have died for this right for us to sit back and what? Continue to live in squalor, watch our cities just turn to dust and be forgotten.
hmm, right. Yeah, I mean, it's like a slap in the face in a sense, It's like we fought so hard, and that just it can be
Well,
disturbing, and it comes off as ignorant. I would definitely
correct.
say so.
Correct. Yes, it does.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
and we are not. I am not, ignorant. I'm not
Right.
brainwashed. We just read for ourselves and go from there.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing I do want to discuss is people saying, I'm not voting. I don't like Biden. I don't like Trump. I'm just not going to vote. Now, I think some people don't realize that no vote actually is a vote. Okay.
Correct.
But what is your theory or thoughts on that? People just not voting at all. Do you think that's a great idea? Do you think it's a good
No.
idea, or do you think that okay?
First off, when they go and they vote, they do not have to select every person that is there for them to vote for. There are still other races. There's local races. There's state. There's state representatives, U.S. Congress, etc. There are other
Hmm.
elections. It could be someone on a local level, your school board, the township. You do not have to
Yeah.
select every person. If you choose not to choose one of the or the other for president, you don't have to. And I don't want to get too deep for anyone, because when it comes to
Hmm.
president, the votes are counted differently. Everyone else, every single vote matters. Because with president, it's like the electoral college, which people figured that out a few years ago and got upset. And I'm like, okay, where were you in school? Were you high that day? I don't know, but you
Hmm.
don't have to select either. There are other people that you can select, local people.
Yes, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because people just, I don't know why, but maybe for some that never voted, I don't know, or some that may have forgotten. But when you go inside of those booths, there
Mm-hmm.
are other candidates for
Right.
you to select. okay?
Right.
Locally, like you mentioned, locally,
Mhm. Yes.
those are just as important. So to just not show up at those ballots is really, you know,
They're
it's
saying
just
tax me
not
more.
a good thing, you know.
No, I don't
Yeah.
care. Tax me more. Send more whomever, kick me out of my house. I'm going on vacation. I'll have more squatters, less police. I'll be paying more. My children will be learning less. I don't care. I want to
And
live in the
see, here's
worst
another
place.
thing.
What?
Here's another thing. What
Mm-hmm.
I want to mention is sometimes there are questions, usually there are questions on
Yes.
there,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that may affect your community directly. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
give an example. There, a couple years ago, back in
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania, was the soda tax.
Yeah. In Philly.
Should we add tax to sodas and other
Right.
things? So there sometimes there are questions on there that may affect your community, whereas though it may not have went into law yet, but based
Mm-hmm.
on what you select on your answer, it could possibly go into law. And you and your family may be affected by it. So it's
Right.
important to go into those ballots, into those
Mm-hmm.
booths and vote.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, like Philadelphia. And now, look, I do not buy soda or anything with sugar if I'm in Philadelphia. I'll drink water
Right. Right.
because
That
the
tax
tax
is
is like
ridiculous.
it's like per 2 ounces or something. The taxes
Yeah,
come
I'm
out to
not
be
even sure
more.
exactly, but that was one
Mhm.
of the questions,
Yes,
on the ballots.
yeah,
And
that
then
they
when it
said my
went into effect,
Mhm.
but here's the thing, when it went into effect, everybody started complaining.
Yes,
Well, did you show up to go vote? Because if you did, you could have put, selected, no, I don't support this, or no, it should not be
correct,
a soda tax.
correct.
So that's something you
Yeah,
have to ask yourself, because a lot of
Mhm.
issues that's happening that people are complaining about, you had the opportunity to make a change. And 9 times out
Mhm.
of 10, they probably sat there and did nothing.
Correct, exactly.
Okay.
And with judges,
So,
sometimes retention. Judge, should we
right.
keep this judge? I vote no. After 10, 20 years, no. We need someone else in there. You don't understand. No. Because there are a lot of judges that don't understand. They don't understand what goes on as far as on the internet. A lot of them, they're
Mhm.
biased.
They're out of
So we
touch.
can, yes. So we continue to have the same antiquated, out of touch judges that maybe
Mhm.
someone in our family or someone we know will have to go before.
Right.
But voting doesn't matter.
Yes, according to some, voting doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Man, you couldn't that couldn't be further from the truth. But more education. This is why we doing what we doing.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is exactly why. And
Yeah.
if we only touch two people,
Mhm.
listen,
Yeah.
that's good enough for us, because you don't
Yes.
know later on how many people they might touch.
Right.
So but yeah, and yes, lastly, I do want to talk about the mail-in um ballots. you know
Okay.
you don't have to go into go to a line and stand there and wait for hours just to go vote. You can mail your vote too.
Correct.
Do you think it's secure? Do you think it's safe to do that?
And I know that they say that it is safe.
Hmm.
Uh, if you follow the chain of custody, I don't know, then things get a little gray area. For those who used to vote or work the polls before, at the end of the night, even for the absentee ballots and all that were sent in, you had
Hmm.
everything at the polling place. Everything. And then you took that to the central location where they would tally up all of the votes. That's not the case anymore. Now,
Hmm.
the people who are working the polls, they never see the mail-in ballots. So they just get sent to the centralized location. Now, I think there should be a barcode or something associated with So that way a person can check to see if their vote was cast or not. And you know what? No, if you want to vote, if you care about this country, if you care about saving it, actually show up in person and vote. It's 2 times out of a year, and
Right.
I told you when I go to pick up my medicine, I have to show ID, but to vote, you do not. And to say that, voter ID, then they say that's racist. Well, okay, it is what it is. Everything else in life you do. But for me, stop using people that look like me, look like us as the poster children to be against voter ID.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know,
Yeah.
Tiffany. I've been down at the wharf in Chester, and there are certain places that they don't allow watchers to go, that they can't see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't.
I am more of a in-person type of person. I would prefer to go to the actual
Yes.
booth,
Right.
because I just someone could just take your voter form and just trash it. That's what
Correct.
I think. But they are trying to convince people that it is safe. I don't want to discourage you from doing that, especially if you know you
Right.
cannot get out. If you're sick,
Correct.
shut in.
Yes.
Definitely melanin. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just go
Yes.
ahead. But if you are able to go
Right.
and actually stand in line
Go.
and vote, go early, but go,
Yes.
just go. Yeah, definitely.
And you
Um,
mentioned vote early, Tiffany. A lot of places they
mhm.
have early voting, whereas you can vote. And it depends. They have to have the ballots ready, but 50 days prior to election day. Out here in Delaware County, you can go to the courthouse and you can vote. So they have early voting.
Wow, there you go. Early voting. So no excuses.
No.
There's so many different ways you can cast your vote. Okay. So
Yeah.
well, yeah. Okay. Well, Miss Ruth, was there anything else that you felt that you wanted to touch on today?
No, I think that what we hit on it, but as far as being
Mm-hmm.
Americans, it's like, who are we? Who are we? And
Right.
everyone is from somewhere else, but there's a process. There isn't any other place that you can go in this world where you just walk
Mm-hmm.
in and you're good. No other country will allow you to do that. So for some of the people who, like the one said to you about, just let them come back to their land or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
when people
Mm-hmm.
have a conversation like that with me, I ask them, have you ever been out of the country? If they say no, I end the conversation there, because then they have no idea,
They have no
no point of
idea.
reference. No.
Right. Right.
So you have no point of reference.
Everyone, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Mm-mm.
Everyone wants to talk about America and how horrible it is. When you go to these other countries, man, they're so strict. It's just so much involved. And I think sometimes we
Yes.
take that for granted. Really, we take America for granted. I mean, really, because if you felt that way, and I feel like, especially those, if you're wealthy and you
Right.
sit and you trash America, why aren't you living in these other countries? You know that
Correct.
that you rave about so much. Why
Correct.
are you here?
Exactly.
That's my
Be
question.
like, yep, exactly. Because other countries, they won't allow you to be a citizen. And if you do become a citizen, you have to denounce your citizenship here. Some you have to pay. Some you need a sponsor. If you don't have a
Hmm.
sponsor, gladly drive your behind to the airport and make sure you get on a plane and leave, because they do not want to be financially responsible for you.
Wow. Well, there you go. You have it.
Yeah.
But yes, this was a great conversation. So,
Yes. Thank
well,
you.
guys, yes, I thank you for today. Definitely. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I am Tiffany Van, and this is Del Van Inspired. You guys have a great rest of the week.
Yes. Yay.